Hi everybody, I'm Trish Christ. In this episode of Our Nashville, NECAT and our super crew of teenagers spend some time with Project Return. Executive Director Betty Kirkland and her team are going to show and tell us all the cool things they do in our community.
Come on in, I'll show you around.
Great.
It's our Nashville. It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.
We all know how to talk about our organization during meetings, but what about the chance encounter of a lifetime? You never know who may share your next elevator, notice your logo on a notebook or a tote bag, and ask what you do. What's the clearest, most persuasive thing you can say in a short elevator ride?
Project Return is solely dedicated to the men and women who are coming to our community after prison. Most of them are destitute, they have no money, no ID, they have the clothes they're wearing, no place to live, no job prospects. And they come to Project Return out of their own motivation. They come to us because they know as well as anyone that the key to their successful return, their successful future, is employment. We work with them. They want more than anything to get on the right track, and so we work alongside them, meeting their critical needs and getting them jobs. They win and we win. The community is a better place when they have better lives.
Betty, I'm not making any great revelation to you when I say that Project Return's mission is enormous. It's huge what you do. And some might find that overwhelming and it's too big of a problem to deal with, and why would we tackle such a giant mission? But I have to say, the times that I have visited your facility, it is the most bustling, friendly, welcoming place, and you absolutely get the sense walking in the door that nobody is wasting a minute. We're here to get some stuff done, both from the participant client perspective and the staff perspective. And I think we should start by talking about let's talk about that purpose. Why does Project Return exist?
Sure. Our purpose is all about providing new opportunities and new beginnings for people who are coming out of prison and coming back to our community. So anyone who's getting out, we want them to come to Project Return as soon as possible after they've been released from prison. And what we strive to do is give the opportunity to everyone for a full and free life after incarceration. A full and free life means employment. You can support yourself and sustain yourself through employment. And a full and free life means you've left prison behind. That's not going to be a thing for you going forward. And so we're obviously very focused on the future. When we do what we're supposed to do, a life that was going to be wasted becomes worthwhile. And we win, and the community wins, and everyone wins when lives are not wasted and when people become important parts of our community. At our office, that bustle, I love hearing that looks that way. It's not unintentional. Our culture is very important to us as a model for not only how we view the urgency of this work, but also how we view the importance of the people who are coming to us. There's no time to waste. People coming out of prison typically are destitute, and we're all about helping them get their future going, really. And so as we work hard, we're modeling hard work.
Exactly.
And that gives a meaning, or maybe like a dual meaning, to our efforts, because if I'm working hard at this now, it's producing something, but also it's an environment of hard work, which is going to be the key to everyone's success as they come through our programs.
It's infectious. Just as a visitor in your space, it's infectious, and I would think participants feel it too. Oh, wow! Look at all this. I better get in the hustle and bustle. I think a lot of people, fortunately, never have to think about prison.
True.
And what it's like before, during, and after. Many of us have that luxury to not have to worry about what all that means. But to best understand what Project Return does, I kind of want to talk about some terms and some words. And for example, what is prison versus jail? Is that the same thing?
It's not the same thing. And so prison is, for the most part, where you go when you've been convicted of a felony and you have a sentence to serve. And so at that point, assuming that there are beds and capacity at prison facilities, you are classified, shipped, processed, and put in a prison. A jail is for people who typically have misdemeanor convictions or are awaiting certain processes along the criminal justice pipeline, if you will. And so it is a difference. For us, we are primarily focused on the prison population, people who've been convicted of a felony and have done time. But we also recognize that some people are getting convicted of serious misdemeanors and doing considerable time in a jail facility. And so we serve those folks as well.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's really meant to extend to anyone who has experienced incarceration at a particular level. And they need our expertise and our assistance in getting back on their feet.
Talk to me about, if you will, staff and volunteers' desire to help people who may have done some scary things in the world. That's different from wanting to help somebody who just needs help, but someone who has done something bad. How do we say, okay, that's your past. Let's move to the future now. How do you get over fear that your average citizen would have around someone who they know has committed a serious crime?
I really think that it has to do with looking at people as people. And I totally hear how trite that may sound, but it's just that simple. And we serve people who have been convicted of every crime, any number of crimes, any number of years in the penitentiary. And today, I'm looking at you and I am seeing a person who wants to live a good life and wants to do well and wants to be good, and that's what I see. Certainly, people who are coming to work at Project Return or people who are coming to volunteer, we see it reflected in their faces time and again. And so I think it's just about how we want to be seen, how we want to see other people, and then living that. When I walk back into my office today, there will be new faces there, just arrived. And what it means to them when I reach out my hand and say hello and ask them their name. It's just a basic human interaction. But I'm just saying, you're you and I'm me, and we're going to get some work done.
I like it.
When I go to the office and there are folks there who've been there coming through different processes and programs, and we're assisting them along the way, and I say, Jeff, how's that job going? You've been on it 3 months. This is awesome. That's Jeff. That's not whatever that conviction was. And so that's really how simple it is, seeing people as people, full of potential. And like me, that person across the table is trying to find his best self today and live that best self. And I know that. As a human, I know that. As a human, you know that. And so really connecting at that level and then making it happen.
I've seen that in your office when I've been there. Certainly people come in and hug. Every time I've been there, people come and hug you. And they check in and they want to tell you what's going on in their world. And it's clear that it is a friendship place. It is a collaboration place. Let's talk about the demographics around the men and women that you serve. Is there a certain cluster around a given age group, or what's your age range and things like that?
Sure. The majority of the people that we serve are age 25 to 45. And so right in that...
That's younger than I would have guessed. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so they're prime working age. They've got enough of their lives ahead of them that they're raring to go. Yeah. So that's the majority of the folks are really in that 25 to 45 age range.
So I guess depending on how long a person has been incarcerated, times have changed for some. Technologically speaking, tools you need in the workplace are different.
Yeah.
You guys are so into it. I'm sure you have ways of helping in that regard too.
It can be daunting to get out of prison and not know what some of these things are. A smartphone can make you feel pretty not smart, as we all know. And there is a part of what we do every week where we're teaching digital literacy, which is really about, this is a mouse, let's set up your email. And so really imparting those technological skills and that basic literacy around computers and phones and how to function is a really important part of what we do. We had someone just come through our place who we handed him a gift card for some basic needs, and he didn't know what a gift card was.
I could see that.
That's not technology, that's just the passage of time and new things. I thought it was striking what he later said when he told us, "You are teaching me how to live life." And that really gets to what we are doing. When we have someone who earns the first paycheck that they've ever earned,
Wow.
it's astounding. And so really, when people come out, giving them that opportunity to learn how to live life is amazing.
My name is Rebecca Delius, and I am a Program Services Coordinator at Project Return. So we do have a lot of program services. Some of the things that we do are we provide necessary documents for our participants. So identification, birth certificates. We also provide bus passes, so transportation to get to job interviews or just to go out looking for jobs. We also provide housing stipends. We also provide things like access to medical appointments, so we'll pay for a physical or a dental exam, eye exam, a whole myriad, a whole host of things that we do for people that are coming out of incarceration, really to guarantee that they are on as steady footing as they can possibly be before they go out there and acquire their job and then re-enter society and become successful, hopefully. That's our goal. A lot of people don't necessarily think about the steps that you take prior to going out, looking for a job, getting a job, and then starting a job. That seems pretty easy, right? But if you're coming out of incarceration, most of the time, unless you're fortunate enough to have a family that's waiting for you or a significant other or something like that, you really have nothing, and I mean literally nothing. So you have to figure out where you're going to live, and maybe that's going to be a transitional halfway house, which we can assist with filling out those applications, really coaching on how to advocate for yourself in those situations. You also, before you can get a job or before you can start your job, you have to have proof that you are who you say you are, and you often come out of incarceration with nothing. You don't have those necessary documents anymore. You don't have your birth certificate. So, you always, first, second day you go to work, you have to fill out all those forms, show, something that says this is my social security number. So we have to make sure people are equipped with those necessary documents. Another thing that we do, which is actually my favorite part of the work that we do, is resume development. So a lot of times our participants have never had a resume before, and so we sit with them and we go through all of their professional experience, and that might be not so much, and it might be really extensive. It just depends on their situation, but we talk them through what they're good at, and a lot of times it's really transformational after you compile all of that into a resume and you have them read it, and really seeing somebody for the first time, maybe in a long time or maybe ever, really be celebrated for the successes that they've had when they look at a resume and they say, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible, like, how did you do this?" And we always say, "Well, you did this is you, this is, we just made it nice and pretty for you, but this is you." And so for me, my favorite part is seeing how much self-confidence people get once they really are sort of told, and they really see that they are capable of going out there and being a professional or being just an employable person, that they can just be a citizen like everybody else. To me, that's really the most important thing that we do, is giving people the self-confidence. I mean, all the other stuff is important, don't get me wrong. The eye exams are important, the bus passes are important, but the confidence boosting and the self-esteem that we provide, or that we help people see, we don't give it to them, they already have it. We just sort of help them find that within themselves. That to me is almost the most important part of what we do.
My name is Matthew Dwyer, and at Project Return, I am a business development coordinator. So the main role of that position is to build relationships between Project Return and local employers here in Nashville, everything from small businesses to larger corporations that have employment in Nashville. When we're working with folks coming out of incarceration, our participants, our kind of model of re-entry is centered around employment. So building relationships with local employers is trying to help our participants get a little bit of a foot in the door by our relationship with those employers. So we have really two main ways that we have a relationship with an employer. So the first, and what I mainly focus on, is the referral-based relationships. And that's really, so if an employer, we meet with an employer, they like what we do, they care about our mission, or maybe not, they just need people need people in the door to work there. With the referrals, according to what the employer thinks is best, whether it's we're emailing resumes directly to someone in HR, or a lot of times now with all the online applications, people, when they're filling out applications, they can put in that they're with Project Return, and then we email someone in HR, and then they'll be sure to go in and find those applications. So and sometimes it's even just directly calling a contact that we have in human resources or a manager at that employer. So that's the referral-based partnerships. And then the other partnership we have is the Pro-E social enterprise that we have here at Project Return, which some of our colleagues joke that it's a staffing agency within a staffing agency. So that's where the participants are employed directly by Project Return. So we're cutting the paychecks, but we're providing transportation to show up on a job site for another local employer in Nashville. And that is like a attempt to hire situation. So depending on the contract, whether it's 30, 90 days, that a participant is working at the job site, and then the employer has the option to hire them on full time. It's a really, it's a great opportunity, especially for, like a lot of people we see don't have a work history, and it's hard and it can be really intimidating to go out and try to find a job if you've never held a job before. So Pro-E is it's also great because it's getting people a paycheck right away, which, having some financial resources coming out of incarceration is a big deal. And then also just helping people get job experiences right away, and, helping with references and just sort of basic job readiness skills that people may not have if they haven't had employment before.
My name is Chiquita Fields, and I'm a program service manager. So whenever a participant comes in, we're their first contact. We go take them through orientation and tell them a little bit about the program, as far as what to expect, how long class is going to be. We provide them with bus passes, so to ensure that they're able to get here for class. We also provide them with food bags, and this is all on the initial when they first come in. Once they complete class and kind of get those ongoing skills as far as job readiness, then we'll help them with developing their resume. We do mock interviews to kind of give them an idea of how to talk about their background when in an interview. We also help them with, once they obtain a job, to get clothing. We also still provide them with some transportation via bus pass, or we actually take them and drive them around. We help them with child support. We help them with court costs for those who want to get their voters' rights back. We help with that. We help people with, if they've lost their driver's license, to get them reinstated. We help with those fees. At Project Return, we think about it as what as a whole someone needs. Outside of them needing job skills and a job, what do they need in order to be able to maintain this job? Whether it's mental health or everyday, health needs, so they can have high blood pressure or diabetics, just to make sure they have all their prescriptions in order for them not to miss work. So we want to make sure that they're stable. And not only that, once they have a job, they have that support to where if you want a raise or you feel like you're being mistreated at work, we're the go-to. So you can come back and say, hey, this is the issues that I'm having at work, how do I deal with this? So just the all-around support to ensure that they're maintaining employment, which is one most important, in order to further their life. Project Return, like as a whole, we are who we say we are. We're genuine, and we're about the people, about making it a little bit easier for you, or giving you that hope that you may not have had before you walk through the door, or just that support that you may not have, and to be consistent at it and let you know, we're not one of those people who say, yeah, we'll help you with this, and then kind of let you fall by the wayside. It is genuine, and we genuine care about overall how your life turns out. And if you want to put forth the effort, then we're here 100% to support you.
And you guys, you don't sit around waiting on somebody to knock on the door either. I know that you are being proactive. You go into the prisons to meet people ahead of their release.
We
think.
do. We do. We call it InReach, and
InReach,
it's
that's
really
good.
about outreach on the inside. And so, really, when you think about our work, it's fundamentally relationship based. Whether we're talking to employers about their workforce needs and how their plant operates or what have you, or if we're talking to people who need our services, or if we're talking to the families of people who need our services. It's really about relationships. So we go inside prisons to spark that connection, the connection that makes them think that they could trust us, they could get assistance from us, they could get a hand up at our shop, because if they're motivated in any small way and they walk across our threshold, we can get it going. We will key to that motivation. We will bring our sort of array of services, our employment connections, and really just the propelling that we do, and to its best effect in their lives. So going into prison is an important thing. We're in some prison or jail somewhere every single day, just meeting people and letting them see us and know about us.
That starts the hope process then, I would think, from that very moment of meeting you guys. I mean, I'm sure people are counting down the days anyway until they're released, but you can think, okay, on day 2 of my release, after I've gone and hugged everybody I want to see, I'm going to go to this Project Return and see what my next steps are.
Absolutely. We encourage people to come as soon as possible.
So we have chatted before, and you know that PEG channels like NECAT, by federal law, we can't solicit funds on behalf of a nonprofit like Project Return. And of course, every nonprofit needs funding. But other than money, what could a viewer watching us right now who is inspired by your work, what can they do to further your endeavors?
There's so many ways that we are supported by this community, and we're grateful every day for the different types of support that we get. It's clear that our work is very connected to the real world. We are a business, running a business, and getting people employed by businesses. And so employers out there or other entities that need good, worthy workers, that's a great way to connect with us. And we are really, we have high volume at our office. We serve hundreds of people every year. And these are folks who come to us out of the primary motivation to work. And so if employers in the Nashville community and beyond are interested in the possibilities for their workforce, we'd love to connect, just talk through it, get to know what they need, and see how we can help them. I think we all win when we do that sort of thing. There are volunteer opportunities at our shop, and because it's about giving people a new lease on life, it's important that they interact with more folks from the community. And so, for example, people come in and learn how to do our mock interviewing process. And so we have folks who are lawyers or bankers or retired librarians coming in to conduct interviews with our folks to give them that real world chance to talk about themselves and present themselves well. It's a really great way for the interviewer to be a part of our world and to meet people they wouldn't have otherwise met. There's just lots that you can do to interact with Project Return.
And you have some interesting new needs around a housing program that you've created, I think.
We sure do. We've created a new enterprise. It's our second social enterprise, and it's really meant to go after the particular need for permanent housing for people who've come out of prison, gotten employed, stayed employed, advanced in their employment, but when they go to make an application for a lease for a modest apartment, they get rejected.
Still a problem.
Yes. So we are now acquiring modest scattered site housing, like a duplex or a triplex.
Awesome.
We rehab it, and just as an aside, the way we do the rehab of the property is by employing the people who have gained construction skills in our shop to then do that work on the housing. And those houses are available to rent to people who have succeeded on the other side of prison.
Great.
In those houses, it's kind of a blank slate. We've done all the rehab, but you can imagine moving into a new apartment and not having the basics like dishes, pots and pans, bedding, towels. And so we're really excited to be setting people up right with the things that can make their house a home.
So help setting up, there's some needs, basic needs in the home.
Absolutely.
It's great. What yet another clever solution to where are folks going to live? Well, they're going to live in the house that their friends rehabbed and got paid for rehabbing. Genius. There's one segment left, Betty, and it is my favorite part. We call it the speed round. It's just like the game we used to play when we were kids, where I ask you a question and the first answer that comes to your mind, let it fly.
Okay.
And we'll go on to the next one. Fair enough?
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right, here we go. Speed round with Betty Kirkland. Does Tennessee presently have 4, 14, or 40 prisons?
14.
True or false? These prisons house roughly 20,000 people.
More than.
Roughly, how many men and women did Project Return work with in 2017?
969.
Roughly.
Exactly.
What can the future hold for anyone?
Everything. Everything good.
What word do you say more than any other word at work?
Opportunity.
What's the hardest thing about your job?
All I think is that we've got to do more. There's more to do. There are more people to help. There's more to be done with the people who are there. There's more value that we can bring. And so the hardest thing probably is just being focused on there's more to do.
That's beautiful. What's the best thing about your job?
It's exhilarating. There's triumph. There are people who turn corners every day, and we get to be a part of that. It's amazing.
And last of all, what's your website?
ProjectReturnInc.org.
Betty, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do and for the interview. Thank you. Thank you.
It's our Nashville.
It's our Nashville.